Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Andy Schwab here with your Northern Ag TV. Well, as you likely know, we have been busy with the travel schedule lately, and that's going to continue on for me today. Of course, last week it was my trip to Miles City and Sydney for the 11th annual Montana Youth Sale and the 2nd annual For the Farmers Harvest Tour. During my brief stop at the Eastern Montana Fairgrounds, I spoke with MSU Extension Sheep Specialist Brent Roeder ahead of the ewe and ram sale as he told me about his recent trip to Australia and the things he learned. One of the biggest challenges he said that Aussies are facing is the loss of live lamb exports to the Middle East.
They used to send about 500,000 head of lambs to the Middle East every year on a big ship, and the government has basically said they're going to shut that down by 2025, 2026. But they kind of front run a lot of that, so the government gave some loans to one of the big meat processors in the area. They basically doubled their harvest capacity to absorb some of that.
Now I'll have more of that conversation on our podcast page. Other travels for myself last week also included a trip to my hometown of Powell, Wyoming for the Park County Farm Bureau annual meeting. I was honored to serve as the keynote speaker among other great updates from state and regional leaders. One of the state leaders that joined the annual meeting was Wyoming Farm Bureau Director of Public and Government Affairs, Brent. He told me that they've put together a task force to decide if there's going to be benefits to Wyoming joining the state of Utah in their ask of the Supreme Court to decide if the states can manage the unappropriated federal lands.
From the ag standpoint, we would rather have it state land. It's easier for us to work with the state government than it is the federal government. A lot of the recreationists are afraid that Wyoming would sell it, and if they made it school trust land, there's no overnight camping on school trust land. So what would it do to the recreational industry? Would it be a big detriment to them? Or just what would happen? And that's what this task force is going to try to get an answer to. What does it mean if Wyoming takes over? What do we get? What do we have to pay for? And so hopefully we'll have an answer here pretty quick.
Now, Wyoming Farm Bureau is also watching other state-level issues as the potential updates of those changes of use with our water rights. As for myself, of course, today I'm going to be traveling to Broadus for the annual Powder River and the Carter County Farm Bureau's annual meeting and present that cattle market update there as well. Well, let's take a little bit of a break, but we'll come back in a short bit to look over your ag markets and other ag news.
From the beginning, we've worked closely with farmers. BNSF's ties to the agricultural community go back 175 years. Together, we've innovated to make the U.S. agriculture supply chain one of the most efficient and productive in the world. Our strong relationship powers BNSF still today and helps us move the nation like no one else can. At BNSF, we move the nation for you.
Well, the NILE Merit Heifer program has announced the class of 2025 of the 23 young individuals receiving that live animal scholarship. That is, 15 of them are from the northern ag states of Montana, Wyoming, and North Dakota. Of course, those students will receive their heifer this fall to raise throughout the next year to better understand the cattle industry through the monthly record keeping and meetings with industry professionals, along with getting that heifer bred and showing her at the 2025 NILE. Shelby Shaw with the NILE said they're excited to see the young people interested in agriculture and especially with the beef cattle industry, and thank those generous donors for over the years. Now, of course, the NILE Stock Show in Rodeo is going to be just under a month away, and this year's program is going to be hosting a NILE Merit Heifer reunion that's celebrating 25 years, and they're also going to be paying special tribute to Bill Pelton on Friday, October 19th. Well, the cattle futures certainly set up the feedlots nicely today to demand higher dollars in this week's negotiated cash cattle sales. Box beef values, on the other hand, have not been pulling their weight as the lagging economy has many concerns raised about where the beef demand will sit throughout the fall months. On the local auction front, many sale barns are sitting on go as producers gear up for the fall run. For St. Arnold's Livestock on Friday the 13th, buyers were not spooked away from paying some higher prices as week-over-week comparisons showed there was good amount of demand for those heavier heifers. And the ram sales of the area are about to wrap up as the 79th annual NILE Ram and Ewe sale is going to be happening Friday morning. They're also hoping for some stronger prices that Montana saw last week, with Ram Blaze having the biggest head count of the 9 different breeds. And wheat trade stalled on steady prices yesterday after profit-taking doused the red-hot wheat markets on Monday that began the week. Of course, many producers are trying their best to get the seed in the ground ahead of the potential $1 million rain today. In addition, it's going to help to see that spring wheat harvest nearly complete, and that's going to be despite the market's only gaining back a penny of their 15-cent loss on Monday. Well, that's going to do it for today's Northern Ag TV. I'm Andy Schwab. Have a great rest of your day.